Begin with whatever you like.
Yeah, yesterday you mentioned you may talk today about the new year in regard with the Ahmadiyya community.
Yes, right. You see, the new year for every Jamaat created by the divine will is always better than the last year. And particularly if you remain loyal to the Sunnah of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you are destined to share the same destiny as is related to Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as mentioned in the Holy Quran. Wal akhiratu khairul laka min al ula. Walal akhiratu khairul laka min al ula. People generally translate it to mean that the life to come in after death will be better for you than the life here. But I don't agree with that translation. In this life, we have an akhirah in relation to our past. So literally this can be translated that every passing moment of yours which comes will be better than the one which is gone. So you will constantly rise in the sight of Allah. This translation is supported by وَيَبَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. And it is very important relationship between this verse and this verse which I have just quoted. Because يَبَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا, if Maqam Mahmud is understood to mean a fixed place or a fixed status where one reaches and the goal is over, then that Maqam Mahmud was already achieved by Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam at the time of his ministry. But why did he tell us to continue to pray for him after hearing every azan? وَبَثُّ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا الَّذِي وَعَدْتَ. So, do they mean that he never reached this Maqam Mahmud? He was always at a Maqam Mahmud which is a moving Maqam. It was not a stationary Maqam. It was always rising higher and higher. So, in this sense, the verse وَلَلْ آخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى must be understood. All other meanings would be meaningless. So from that I insist the meaning is, O Prophet, every past moment, every coming moment of his is better than the past moment. They're constantly on the rise. And this also is the fate of the divine communities or followers of divine messengers. As long as they remain on the right path, they are bound to grow from glory to glory. And they are never at a loss. So this has also become a test case in case of Jamaat Ahmadiyya. The higher the opposition rises, if we were without God, that is to say, without God to favor us, then after every rise of opposition we must have been diminished to smaller sizes. What we see is exactly the opposite. So every year that dawns upon us is definitely better than the one which we say farewell to. And the differences are so big, the leaps are so powerfully made in the direction of higher achievements that every leap is a momentous leap. Every leap is a historic leap. I can compare the last 2-3 years of Jamaat's progress, and then you will know what I mean, and then you will know the real message of the Holy Quran. That if you belong to this Holy Prophet, this is your fate. No coming year will be worse than the one past. Every coming year will be far better than the year which has left you, or which you have left behind. Now, when I came to England, those were the crisis years of the Jamaat, when Pakistan mullahs colluded with the government of Pakistan, with the constitution, the members of the Constituent Assembly. They all colluded against Jamaat Ahmadiyya and decided that this is a difficult nut for us to break. So far we have failed to stop their progress. So we must take some legal actions in the field of legislation. If we legislate them out of Islam, then people will stop coming to them. This was the ultimate design or plot to stop the progress of Ahmadiyya. Now, this in itself is sufficient to prove that all our years dawned better and better and high, took us higher and higher. Otherwise, why do they not take legislative measures against Baharis, against all the ABC and every other small sect, even the Ismailis? They themselves agree, admit, openly publish these facts, that the difference between Ahmadiyya understanding of Islam and the Sunni understanding of Islam is only on one area of interpretation of the verse Khatam an-Nabiyyin. In all other fields, there is no disagreement in major areas of belief. But with Ismailis, the differences are so fundamental and of such grave nature that if Ahmadis are to be called non-Muslims, then they earn this credit 100 times more. So there are Zikris, there are Alawi Shiites, and now they go on abusing them and telling the whole world that they are non-Muslims. No legislative measure is ever taken, because there is no need. They are not growing, they are not spreading, they are not creating a challenge. So this is the reason that this decision itself is an admission of defeat. They explored all avenues of opposition, all measures of suppression and oppression. Nothing worked. We said, all right, when we declare them to be non-Muslims, then the Muslims, common Muslims of the country would say, all right, we can make a jump into another sect, but not into an un-Islamic entity. Because they know everybody in the country loves Islam. So they can become Shiites from Sunnites, Sunnites from Shiites, and so on. These things happen, in small way, not in a big way. But for a Muslim, whatever sect he belongs to take this horrendous decision of leaving Islam and going outside the pale of Islam, the boundary of Islam, this they estimated or calculated would be extremely difficult. That is the reason, that is the only reason in fact, that they tried to stop us and said in 1974 resolved in the National Assembly that all the rest of the sects, whatever their differences, are still Muslims. That was the verdict given by them. Even if you consider Hazrat Ali to be the actual recipient of Allah's message, and the message was delivered by mistake to Hazrat Rasulullah Sallam by Jibreel, all this is involved in this. Still you are a Muslim, no problem. If you declare Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu the chieftain of the hypocrites, and you declare all of the Muslims except the family members of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallam to be hypocrites, This is true faith. This is true Islam. And on that fatal day in the National Assembly of Pakistan, this was decided. You do whatever you do. You believe whatever you believe. Only do not believe in Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian. And then we will declare you to be Muslims. So this is what happened, and the compulsion was that they could not suppress us. In the fields of arguments, they were roundly beaten. In every area of debate and argumentation, they had nothing left. People continued to be Ahmadis. This made them take this decision, and this made them a witness to the fact that every new year of Ahmadiyya, so far according to them, till that moment, is more glorious than their past. And this is the only measure left to us to suppress them, otherwise they will go beyond our control and reach. That is regarding the past. But what happened afterwards? Now I come to that. And as I come closer to the year today, this year, you'll be amazed at Allah's blessings upon Ahmadiyya and the way they are spreading and growing. So when they took this decision, the rate of people becoming Ahmadis grew bigger and faster. Instead of diminishing, more people became interested in Ahmadiyya. Previously, when they were dissatisfied with their own sect, they would think of joining another sect. Now there were only two divisions left: the Orthodox Islam and Ahmadiyya Islam. And whenever they were discussing with some of the Orthodox views and things, they sought shelter in Ahmadiyya Islam because they knew in their hearts, they had lived with us 100 years before this event, and they knew that they are the true Muslims. It's all false. The allegation was not accepted by the mass verdict. Otherwise they wouldn't become Ahmadis. So they continued to become Ahmadis, and at a faster rate. This is what panicked the government. This is a testimony in favor of Ahmadiyya, that every Ahmadi year is more glorious than the past year. Now, I can tell you one example which I witnessed myself. In year 1984, when the decision was taken, on the same Jalsa Salana, the annual conference in Rabwa, 74, the leader of the laborers which were employed in one of the cooking center, which is we call Langar Khana, after the work was finished and we were holding the last ceremony, he stood up and said, most of the laborers were non-Ahmadis. Ahmadis were just honorary workers. So he stood up among them and said, look here, before you depart, listen to me. I have decided to become an Ahmadi. If you ask me why, I say what happened in Islamabad Constituent Assembly, that decision has made me an Ahmadi. He was not a very educated person, a man of ordinary education, but a man of intellect. He said, you will ask why. My answer is that these mullahs have been telling us throughout the last so many centuries that Islam will get divided into 72 sects. They will all be hellbound. Only one Jamaat will be the Jamaat which will be heavenly. And they have been rubbing it in upon us for centuries. And now suddenly they are telling us that 72 are heavenly people and only one is hellbound. See? What a wonderful judgment passed by him. He said, look here, I am with Muhammad Rasulullah Sallam. He says 72 will be wrong and one will be right. The mullahs have been agreeing with that throughout. Now, one fine morning in 74, they declared, no, we have all been wrong, even Muhammad Rasulullah was wrong. The right thing, what he should have said was that all 72 will be right and one will be wrong, and chuck that one out. So he said, the one who is chucked out, I am also chucked out with. Because Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah verdict will pass, your verdict will not pass. What a beautiful speech it was, that made my Jalsa Sarara that year. And this is the argument which has been working on people everywhere. So they could not stop. Until 10 years after Zia saw a sort of movement developing in favor of Ahmadiyya. I myself again witness to all this. Why did Zia take all these mayors? But already the decision has been taken. People said 90 years old, problem is resolved, no masala, no problem, no sawal left at all. Finished, everything finished. Now they're outside and finished with them. We have done with them. Why suddenly Zia took into his head to try to destroy Ahmadiyya, admitting that all mayors before that have failed? So now we must take the most severe punitive measures, otherwise they will not be stopped. So the year 74 saw those punitive measures, but let him, I have spoken too much, let him take up with me and translate this much, then we'll start the journey from there onwards.
Thank you.
There's a long way to go as yet. You see, they pray before the photo of their Imam. And I have myself visited one of the places of worship in Karachi, where one of their leaders took me. He was a friend of an Ahmadi, and he, at my request, took me to the mosque. They don't call it mosque, they call it Jamaat Khane. And there I was amazed, astounded to see the picture of Agha Khan hanging in the middle in the direction of Qibla, in the middle, and everybody prayed to him. Can you imagine a worse manifestation of shirk than this? No mosque, they don't say prayer, 5-time prayers in those mosques. Now, for the last few years, they have started doing it. Because I know some friends from Canada who write to me that you say there's such big difference, while we say the 5-time prayers like the Muslims. But I assure you, this is a late trend. Prior to that, entire East Africa is a witness to this, and all the Karachi in those areas of Karachi where they have their Jamaat Khanes, that they never prayed the 5-time prayers like Muslims. The Jamaat Khana has no member, no mihrab, nothing. Only in the middle there is the picture of their living Agha Khan, and they bow to him and pray to him and beg from him. So they say this is okay, no problem, still Muslims. But the difference of interpretation, that we cannot tolerate.
نزل على محمد بدلا من نزوله على علي.
Because they say that the Hazrat Muhammad ﷺ looked very much like Hazrat Ali. Now, normally we say Hazrat Ali looks like him or looked like him. They don't say that. They say Wahi was intended for Hazrat Ali, and Jibreel was told by Allah to go straight to him and deliver this Wahi to him. Now he got confused because Hazrat Muhammad ﷺ looked like Hazrat Ali. So he delivered the message to the wrong address. And from then on it was too late. This they believe. Everybody knows.
يقول,
and yet this is Islam.
نعم.
In 1974 it was decided. All the other sects of Islam are absolute beautiful Muslims. You have nothing to do with them. Only Ahmadis are non-Muslims.
No.
Not only that, it is a witness in our favor.
No.
A testimony.
No.
That they are only afraid of us
No.
because in the past they have not been able to suppress us.
No.
The rest of the sects are practically dead. They are not eating up their grounds.
نعم.
We are a real threat because we are increasing and they are decreasing in comparison to us.
في الواقع هذه شهادة عظيمة جدا. يجادل
It was in the same year when the resolution of the National Assembly, of the Constituent Assembly, declaring us to be non-Muslim was passed. It happened in September, 6th of September, or 7th, huh? 7th of September. My 6th the decision was taken on the 6th, it was declared on the 7th. It was, the decision was taken or declared on the 7th of September 1974. 3 months after that, in December, we had our annual conference. So the incident which I quoted was from that same year.
نعم.
I was working in one of the food centers where food was cooked. We call it Langar Khana.
You yourself.
I was the head of that one center.
نعم.
And the people, all Ahmadis were volunteers.
نعم.
All non-Ahmadi workers were paid workers.
نعم.
So this is what happened to the Thekedar, we call it, the contractor of the non-Ahmadi labor.
نعم.
He, at the end of Jalsa, we used to sit together and enjoy and pray in the end before separation.
Yeah.
He stood up, he said, I have to say something. And I said, yes, please go ahead. This is what he said, I have already told you. This is, you have colluded against Muhammad Rasulullah. He says this and you say this. I am with him, so I am with Ahmadis. The one phase is over. They built the wall between us and the non-Ahmadis of Pakistan with the hope that nobody will be able to scale this wall and go on the other side.
Yeah.
The wall is not too big. Previously, the separating walls between the different sects of Islam were small walls. Everybody could jump across and join the other side. But they say when we have separated Ahmadis from the rest of the Muslims in Pakistan by building the wall, labeling it non-Muslims territory begins. If you go over to them, you become non-Muslims. Then they said no Muslim of Pakistan would dare to cross this wall over to the side of Ahmadis, because to have this label stuck on your forehead that you're becoming non-Muslim, that is far too much for Muslims. This was the conspiracy.
Yeah.
This they did, and what happened was the non-Ahmadis started becoming Ahmadis in much greater number than before. This is the proof.
Yeah.
This acceleration in the rate of the non-Ahmadis becoming Ahmadis, that even the last measure they took failed them, was frustrated by Allah, and every other year which dawned upon us was better than the previous one. It happened in 1974. 10 years passed since that time. Now, what happened to Ziaul Haq? That he thought another measure was essential. It was a declaration, a confession of defeat. Had this measure become successful, why should suddenly Ziaul Haq rise and say, no, we have failed to stop them, now I will show you how to treat them. I am going to take measures which will completely destroy them. And on that fateful day of April, 26th of April 1984, he promulgated the ordinance which penalized the act of becoming Ahmadis and penalized Ahmadis who followed Islam. This is an act of legislation which has blackened the faith of all the opposition of Ahmadiyya. You can't stop people from becoming Ahmadis only through the application of threat to punish them by imprisonment, by confiscating their property, even to hang them, if they practice Islam. So what are you against? What do you hate? You hate practice of Islam. not Ahmadis. Their claim that it was Khatm al-Nubuwwah difference is absolutely false. I can prove it in a minute. They say no prophet can come after Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the final verdict of the verse Khatam al-Nabiyyin. And Ahmadis say yet Imam Mahdi would appear and Isa will be born from the Ummah. This is what we say. How can this be against the verse of the Holy Quran? Was the advent of Isa not made by, prophesied by Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah himself? Was the advent of the Mahdi not made by the Khatam al-Nabiyyin himself? So to believe that Al-Imam al-Mahdi has come, to believe that Jesus has come who was prophesied about, how could this be against the verdict of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallam, who himself was Khatam al-Nabiyyin? It is his verdict. Now they argue, I don't want to enlarge the argument, but in a short nutshell, I can prove that they are false, there is no difference. Now you ask these ulama, ask them, okay, forget about Mirza Ghulam and the Qadian, we are not ready for this punishment which you give us, which you mete out to us if we accept him. So we forget. Okay. Will a Isa descend from the heaven or not? Tell us simply. Say yes, he will. Will he be a prophet of God or not? Yes, he will. So what is the difference between you and the Ahmadis? The only difference is in the identification. They believe that prophet of God will certainly appear after Muhammad. But the question is, will a person of the Ummah of Moses come and lead Muhammad, or will a servant of Hazrat Muhammad under the verse وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ would be raised to the status of prophet, but non-law-bearing prophet, not a law-bearing prophet? This is the difference. Who would be the Isa? The dead one or the new one who will be born in the Ummah? We believe that he will be born in the Ummah, otherwise his being prophet is agreed upon. Both the parties unite in this belief that after Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah, Isa's being prophet of Rasulullah Ummah will not be against Khatam al-Nabiyyin. The second, Al-Mahdi. We say Mahdi has come, they say he has not come. They say you call him a subordinate prophet. This is wrong. We say, how would you call your Mahdi when he comes? Will he not be appointed by God? Will you elect him? They say, no. It's kufr. He will be appointed by God, directly by him. And will you be permitted by God to reject him? Of course not. To not define prophethood. How on earth can you make a definition of prophethood which cannot be applied to Imam Mahdi? There are two parts to the central parts to the definition of prophethood. A person appointed directly by Allah, not appointed by anybody else, not elected, not appointed. And to reject him is a crime in the sight of Allah. You see, this is made compulsory, and this is in the article of Muslim faith. We believe in all his prophets. It never says we believe in all his awliya or aqtab. The only one office in which you are made to believe compulsorily is prophethood. And they say it will be compulsory upon every Muslim and every person to believe in Imam Mahdi. So what is the difference between Imam Mahdi and prophet? So if we want to touch our ear, we do it like this. They don't like it, they think it's too obvious, everybody knows. They do it from behind. I don't know how they can stretch it, but attempt to hide this hair. So they touch the ear, but nobody knows. This is the difference. A brave admission to the fact, to the belief, and a devious way, hypocritical way of saying the same things in different words. But there is a long story. I think the time is over. Shall we begin? Will we return to it later on?
Yes, at the beginning of next. Or now?
Oh, no, I think it's already over. 5 minutes over. Huh?
1 minute over.
1 minute over. So let them wait.
Yes.
We'll begin with this, and if I'm late, then you can start all this.
Yes.
Inshallah. Okay? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.